If you want a 30-minute guitar lesson with me each month, then check out the Patreon link in the description box below. So let's take a look at the classic intro to Hey by the Pixies. So we're going to be playing essentially a D chord, but we're going to be fingering it in a slightly different way. So what we're going to need to do is place our finger on the 2nd fret of the G, the B and the high E. So you're going to be barring with your 1st finger. Then you're going to place your 2nd finger onto the 3rd fret of the B string. Okay, so if you hit those 3 strings, it's essentially a D string, we're just using different fingers. So what we're going to be wanting to do is hammer on from the 2nd fret to the 4th fret on our G. You can use your 3rd finger, but I prefer to use my little finger. So we essentially hit those 3 strings, and as we're doing that, we want to hammer on to the 4th fret G. And once more. So after that, we have then got some mutes. So what I do is I release the pressure on the strings, and with our right hand, we're going to go up, down. Okay, so it should be completely dead. So it'll sound like this. And once more. So after those muted notes, we're not going to be putting our little finger down. We're just going to be hitting the G and the B. We're going to hit the G and the B, but this time hammer on down to the 4th fret G. Okay, so it sounds like that. So, and once more. So altogether we have got, and once more. So for the 2nd chord shape, we're just going to change slightly. We're going to now be hammering on to the 3rd fret on the G. Okay, so it's going to be like that. And essentially our right hand stays the same. So we hit those 3 strings, do a hammer on. And then we're going to go up, down, mute. Okay, so, and once more. After those mutes, we're then going to hit the G and the B. We're going to hit the G and the B again, but hammer on to 3. Okay, so far. And then once you've done your hammer on, then you pick your high E, your B, and the G. Okay, so it's exactly the same as the 1st chord that we did in terms of our right hand. So if I just play it one more time. So let's put the 2 chords together real slow, okay? So we've got, and once more. So the order of this intro goes 1st chord, 2nd chord, and then 1st chord, and then 1st chord. So think of it as 4 different parts. We've learnt the 1st part and the 2nd part. So you play the 1st part, play the 2nd part, and then you go back to the 1st part twice. Okay, so it sounds like this all together. And you essentially loop that round several times. When we get to the lyrics of We're Chained, it then changes to some chords. So you can play the G major chord like this, or you can play it open if you want. And we're going to be playing each chord 8 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we're going to move to the E minor chord and play it 8 times. And then we're going to move to the B minor chord and play it 8 times. So altogether we've got G, E minor and B minor 8 times on each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those chords essentially loop round several times. There is a lead guitar part in the chorus, and it's some unison bends. We're going to place our 1st finger on the 15th fret of the B, 2nd finger on the 16th fret of the G, and 3rd finger on the 17th fret of the G. We're going to hit those strings once, and then we're going to hit them again, and then again, and then we're going to hit them continuously. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and then continuous. So we're going to be splitting the guitar solo into 2 different sections, and then we're going to be looking at the phrases in it. So to start off with, we're going to look at this very first phrase that goes like this. So for this, we're going to start on the 7th fret of our G with our 3rd finger. and then you want to slide down to 4, and then we're going to pick 2 on the G. Okay, so it's 7, 4, 2. And then we're going to go to the 4th fret on the D, and then we're going to pick the 2nd fret on the D, but hammer on to 3 and 4. Okay, so. And then if I put it together from the beginning. Then let's move on now to the 2nd phrase. So the 2nd phrase is very similar, but we're going to start on the 6th fret of our G. We're going to pick it once, and then you want to slide down to the 2nd fret G. Then we're going to go to the 4th fret D, 2nd fret D, 2nd fret D again, but this time you're going to hammer on to 3 and 4. Okay, so 6, 2, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. So if I put the 2 little sections together, and then the last phrase, which we play twice, we go to the 2nd fret D and we pick it twice, open D, 2nd fret A, open A. Okay, so and to finish off this phrase, we then pick the open A again, but hammer on to 1 and then 2 on the A string. Okay, so this little phrase sounds like this. You essentially play that twice, you just play it again. So this whole section of the guitar solo, starting on the 7th fret G and finishing on with your hammer on onto 1 and 2, this essentially repeats twice. Then you're going to move on to the next part of the solo, where we need to quickly go to the 7th fret on the G and we pick it once. Then we're going to go 7, 9, 10 with a slight bend on the 10. Okay, so those 4 notes are 7, 7, 9, 10 and a little bend. And then after that we've then got 7 and 9 on the G and then 7 on the B. So let's do this little section. 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 7 on the B. And then let's take a look at the next phrase of this little section. So it sounds like this. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're going to the 10th fret on the high E and we're picking it twice. And then we're going to the 7th fret high E and then 10th fret B. Okay, so 10, 10, 7, 10. Then we're going to go to the 7th fret on the B and then 5th fret on the B, but then hammer on to 6 and 7. Okay, so. And if we go from our 10th fret, and you essentially play that again. So the 10, 10, 7 bit on the high E, we want this kind of rhythm. Da, da, da. Okay. Da, 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 da. Just something to be careful of and to practice. Then it leads to the final part of the guitar solo, which is some unison bends. If you're not quite sure what unison bends are, it's essentially where we're going to be hitting both strings and bending those strings up. So we're going to place our first finger on the 7th fret of the B, second finger as kind of an anchor finger on the 8th fret of the G, then our third finger on the 9th fret of the G. We're going to be hitting both those strings once, a little gap, and then we're going to do it again, a little gap, we're going to do it again, then we've got a smaller gap, and this time we're just going to continually hit those strings, so we're going to go up and down in our unison bend. The unison bend part sounds like this. Okay, and you essentially just keep hitting those strings until everything drops out. So that is then the whole of the guitar solo. So that has been Hey by the Pixies. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did enjoy this lesson, click the like button, click the subscribe and then the bell. That way you'll be notified each week when I upload a guitar lesson.